this tutorial, I want to teach you about constructor function. The constructor functions are very essential, when you're building your solidity application, that is your smart contract. Knowing that a smart contract basically is like a class, so its solidity itself is an object-oriented programming language. So that means objects, they work with classes, and your contract is actually like a class having attributes or properties and methods, which could be called functions as well. So a constructor function is actually the first function to be run when a class or a contract, in this case, is executed. So once, for example, I'm deploying a contract to the web or to the blockchain network, that particular function called the constructor function will be executed before any other function in the smart contract. Hope that is clear. So if you're ready, let's get started. All right, so if you look at my screen right now, we have a smart contract structure. I've already defined the solidity version and everything, and a payment smart contract. What I want to do is to illustrate to you the power of the constructor function and why it's essential as you'll be building your solidity programming programs. So the first thing you want to do, for example, in this payment, you want to really get an owner's account. You want to be able to create a function called withdraw to, which let's call it function withdraw to, okay, and basically this is republic, of course, and returns true, that is boolean on completion. So this is where all the codes are going to be written. Those here. Okay, so but the thing is that I don't want, this is like my website or my account or my stuff. I don't want people to come and withdraw money from me or send money to anything or any account. I want to restrict it to only me, only my account can actually use this function. So I want to show you how the constructor function can help you achieve this thing. So all we just need to do is to define a state variable, or is an address type. And what it does is it should be public, of course. And let's say this is the owner of this smart contract. Whenever I deploy this smart contract on the web, I want to use the constructor function to extract this owner. So I do, this owner is equal to MSG. Remember, MSG is a global variable in Solidity, so it captures the particular person that is deploying the smart contract, so that person will not become the owner of the smart contract. So I do MSG.sender, and boom, that is it now. So in this particular function, I can now restrict it to only the owner, only the owner of this smart contract can actually call this function. So what we can do now is do require, which is an inbuilt function in Solidity that checks for a certain criteria or a certain condition to be met before proceeding to the rest of the code. So before performing the rest of the code on this smart contract, on this function, I want this require function to check if the MSG.sender, whomever is calling the smart contract, is equal to what? The owner. If it's not equal to the owner, I want this function to fail with this error message saying admin only. So if you're not the admin, you shouldn't be able to call this. This is just what I'm saying in reference. And then you can say return true, because we say that this function returns true. So all your logics can go inside of this place where you have to write the rest of the thing. But I'm just trying to show you what is possible here. So when I click on Control Save to compile, I get a warning that I could restrict this thing to view only. You know, I could just put this thing here to remove this warning, but it's, you know, I didn't actually design it for that particular purpose. So it is compiled now. I'm going to remove this old contract here and change this value. Okay, now I could come here and click on deploy. You know, this is a payment smart contract and it's inside this file called demo.solidity, and I click on what deploy, and it is deployed on the network. And when I come close here, you see the owner, when I click on the owner becomes the deployer of that smart contract, and you can see that this is the deployer of the smart contract, and you can see that certain gas fee has been extracted from his account, which remains now 99.9999, you know, ETHs. And you see that this account ends with EDDC4, and you can see here that this account ends with what, EDDC4 as well. So only this user can work all this. For example, let's change this user. Let's say this is another person trying to call this function. Let's say withdraw to. See, it fails with an exception saying what, admin only, because this guy is not the admin. So this function, you know, has been restricted because of this particular criteria that we put in here. So now if we go back and switch this account to the deploying account, which is the owner itself, and then I come here and click this withdraw to, you know, it works just fine. Everything worked out good, and you know, it was successful. You can see that it returns true, you know. So this is how you can use the constructor function. You use it to initialize, you know, the states of your state variable once you deploy, before any other function or activities can be carried out within your smart contract. Hope you got a ton of value from this little teaching, and if you do that, you're awesome. So I'm going to have to see you in the next class.